Turn it up, swashbucklers. You're listening to Under the Crossbones, episode number 12. My name is Phil Johnson. I will be your host for the show. Thank you for being here. I'd like to welcome all the new people that have started listening over the last week and subscribing. I really appreciate that. Welcome to the show. My guests today are Jeff and Rebecca MacKay of the MacKay Pirate Family. Now, one of the things I've really enjoyed about this show is just meeting people that I had no idea existed. I've been a pirate guy a long time, all my life. Not super deep in the scene by any means, but I've met some fascinating people, and Jeff and Rebecca MacKay absolutely fit the bill of fascinating people. If you're not familiar with them, they're a pirate family. It's Jeff and Rebecca and their son, and they live as pirates. They dress as pirates. They make hats. They make costumes. They make stuff. They do events. They have a pirate movie that they're shopping the script for. They designed a theme park that you're going to hear about in the episode. And they've done just all sorts of cool stuff. And these were people that I would have never had a chance to experience if it weren't for this show. So you're really going to enjoy this interview with them. They're very cool folks. So stick around for that. The websites, underthecrossbones.com is where you can find all the show notes for today's episode, plus all the other episodes. And you can find me at philjohnsоncomedy.com if you want to find out what I'm doing. More to talk about, but first I want to thank Heidi Bergdahl, who is a friend of Bilge Monkeys, who you heard on the show last week. And Heidi saw that, liked the episode, went out and spread the word on Facebook for me. And that's how a lot of you new people came to the show over the last week. So thank you, Heidi. I really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed yet, you can do that at, there's instructions and everything at underthecrossbones.com. You can find us on iTunes and subscribe there. You can find us on Stitcher. As of this week, the show is on TuneInRadio.com, so you can find us there. Or your favorite podcatcher, just search for Under the Crossbones and you can find us there. Keep leaving the interviews. I'm doing the interviews, not you. Keep leaving the reviews on iTunes. I really appreciate the ratings and the reviews there. That is one of the most important things you guys can do to help support the show. And until I start asking you for money, which might happen at some point. It's been a busy week for me. I was back on the road doing shows. Did a Moose Lodge last Friday night. That was actually a much more enjoyable show than I thought it would be. I was asked to do a clean show for the Moose Lodge people, and by the time I got to the end of my half-hour show, I mentioned that, and they were like, "No, we don't want a clean show." So I did a dirty song at the end for them. A lot of fun. And then last night I was at the Sunday night. I was at the Crow's Nest in Santa Cruz, California, which is always an adventure. There are certain rooms in the country where you just never quite know what you're in for. I've played the Crow's Nest a dozen times probably, and it's always a little bit different each and every time, as was last night. A girl passed out drunk on a table. There was a birthday in the audience, so I got to do my birthday song. That was a lot of fun. So it was a pretty good gig. Always an adventure, the Crow's Nest. It's a show that's been going on for 30 plus years, and some nights on stage it feels like I've been on stage for 30 plus years. But anyway, fun show. Lots of more gigs coming up this week. You can find me Wednesday. That is Wednesday the 21st. I will be at the Feel More Gallery in Oakland, California. Now, the Feel More Gallery is an adult toy store because only in Berkeley, California would they call an adult toy store a gallery. And it's in Berkeley, California, which means it's going to be very empowering and a place where they do not judge you harshly for buying sex toys. They do not judge you at all for buying sex toys. They will, however, judge me for telling any joke that is not PC. I know that's coming. Because I've played Berkeley lots of times. So they will not judge you if you want to buy a vibrator. They will judge you if you tell a non-PC joke. So I am probably in trouble. But that's the way it goes. The following night, Thursday, October the 22nd, I will be at Winners Casino in Winnemucca, Nevada, which is about as far away, theoretically, from Berkeley, California, as you can possibly get. Winnemucca is a mining town, and they have this little casino there, and all of Winnemucca consists of miners, and every building it goes church, brothel, casino, church, brothel, casino. that's the whole town. And the first time I went to Winnemucca, they said, "Hey," a guy said, "Hey, do you want to see one of our brothels?" And I said, "Oh, no, I don't. No, thank you." Because it's scary in Winnemucca. Anyway, I'll be telling jokes there, and they will judge me for not telling non-PC jokes. I think there. It'll be interesting. Friday the 23rd, I will be at Aftershock in Klamath Falls, and I like Klamath Falls. It's a nice, normal little town. Klamath Falls, Oregon. I'll be at Aftershock there. And then the following week, Wednesday, October the 28th, I will be at Freddie J's in San Jose, California, a rare headlining show in my own hometown. It only happens a couple times a year, so if you're in San Jose, come out and see it. And then Friday, October the 30th, I will be at the Washington Inn Hotel in Oakland, headlining there as well. So it's a busy couple of weeks coming up. And let's see, who else is on the show today? Oh, we got, hey, you know what? No landscaping this weekend. Super awesome that there was no landscaping this weekend. We did go to a nursery. We looked for some plants, things like that, but there was no actual landscaping done this weekend. And it was pleasurable beyond belief to not be digging in the dirt. Really happy about that. As always, got some comedy music on the show for you today, too. The comedy clip today is from my pal Matt Gubser, whose new album, Daddy Issues, just came out this week, so make sure you go to mattgubser.com to pick that up. I'm going to play a little clip of that. And then we'll have a song later on called Driving at Night from Kenny Thomas and the Southern Baptists. Really fun band. Kenny is one of the coolest dudes you will ever meet. Super good guy, fellow long hair like myself, and a really good dude. So we'll play that after. All right, I'm going to stop yakking now, and I'm going to play this interview with Jeff and Rebecca MacKay. Enjoy. You guys, the MacKay family, Jeff and Rebecca, and you are a real-life pirate family. So when somebody asks you guys, what do you do for a living? What do you tell them?
Well, it's kind of difficult to explain. And it really depends on what situation we're in, who's asking. We kind of feel that out, but we tell people that we're entertainers, that we're pirate reenactors. I tell them that I'm a master milliner or master hat maker, that Rebecca's a professional aquatic performer. And then we kind of go from there because usually they have a glassy-eyed, slack-jawed look at that point and kind of are like, huh?
It usually takes explanation.
What are you talking about? And so it usually takes a bit of explanation on each and every one of those job descriptions.
Now, I find that interesting. So just from a sort of a sociological point of view, when you're talking to somebody, how do you make the decision of how much to tell them about what you do?
How excited they get.
Yeah.
How big the smile is, and you just keep elaborating.
Okay.
Whether we're at a party or whether we're at church, you know, whether we're already in a conversation about Somali pirates and it pops up, or something like that. We don't usually throw the word real pirates around that much, unless of course they're someone pitching us our reality TV show or something like that, and then they're like, oh, they're real pirates, we
use the term pirate reenactors.
We use pirate reenactors a lot, that term, and even within our own community that can cause some issues because there are pirate reenactors who are the hand-sewn clothing, cloth buttons, horn buttons, nothing fantasy or Hollywood genre type of pirates, no Hollywood influences. And so they're kind of like your golden age of piracy Nazis that wouldn't take kindly to us saying that we're reenactors, because they, of course, would not see us as reenactors.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So you kind of straddle the line a little bit. Between period historical accuracy and the Hollywood aesthetic, right?
Absolutely.
It makes it much more entertaining. That way you can teach about history, but you're also keeping the public engaged.
Exactly.
Okay, that absolutely makes sense. So let's go back. Let's do the story. Where do you guys come from, and how do you end up in this lifestyle?
For me, it started in 2003 with Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. The movie came out. I saw the movie. The character of Captain Jack Sparrow resonated with me on some primal level. I was like, that's my alter ego. And I wanted to do the Halloween costume because Halloween's my favorite holiday of the year. And
he wanted to win the Halloween costume.
I wanted to win.
Contest.
I wanted to win. I'm very competitive. I wanted to win because I tied the year before. And so I made the whole costume. I researched it, and everything kind of snowballed because I couldn't find someone to make the hat. I researched it. I learned how to make period correct tricorns. I made one for myself for the outfit, for the Jack Sparrow outfit. And then pictures started getting out, and people were like, dude, where'd you get your hat? I got to have one of those. And so I started making them for other people. And then I test marketed it and started selling them through eBay, and realized if people were willing to pay what they were willing to pay for it, that I could be making a living possibly doing it. And so 2003, months after the movie, I won the Halloween costume contest. I met my future wife that night. And a business was born, and that was Captain Jack's Pirate Hats. And then it kind of snowballed from there for me.
Well, it obviously started the same night for me because that's the night I fell in love with the pirate.
That's a momentous evening right there.
You know, big things always happen for us in October. It's a good month for us.
Yeah. Oh, well, I hope you're planning ahead because it's coming up again.
Yes, we're excited.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, what did you do? What did you do before that? What was your previous life looking like?
Well, my previous life has been different at different stages. I have a master's degree in psychology. Mm-hmm. I grew up in Ohio. I moved to as far away from Ohio as I could when I was 18. I moved to California, did my BA and my MA, worked for the San Francisco State University for years and got tired of that. And I took up windsurfing as a hobby, and then it became a job. And I did that. I managed a windsurfing store in San Francisco, later moved to the Columbia River Gorge, which is the best windsurfing in the United States.
Sure.
Most consistent. And I started managing a business there, and ran that for 11 years. But along the way, the pirate thing happened, and I kind of realized, although I enjoyed windsurfing every day, and I would be on the water maybe 160 days a year, so I did it a lot and was a sponsored windsurfer. But at the same time, I was working for somebody else, and I realized that if I was making hats and selling them, I'd be working for myself, and nothing really beat having my own schedule and, doing what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it, and not having to answer to anybody except myself and my customers. So I ran a windsurfing business before that.
Okay. That absolutely makes sense, because that's how I've always fallen into each of my individual career paths as well. As, oh, that's a thing? Okay, I guess I can do that.
Yeah.
So I can absolutely identify with that, and I think it's great. Rebecca, what was your life like before this?
Well, again, I have gone down many different paths and tried many different things. But I've always been a dancer. I was a gymnastics coach. I was a water instructor. I was a lifeguard. So I've always had spent a lot of time as an entertainer and also in the water. So it was a natural transition for me to become a mermaid.
Sure.
And as far as the pirate thing goes, I've also really loved art and sewing. And so I became a costumer, and I make all of our wardrobe, and it's been a lot of fun.
I imagine so. And so did you, I'm always sort of intrigued by, the costuming and even the weapon design and things that you guys do. How do you learn how to do those types of things? Outside of the standard, go to college type of thing.
A lot of it they don't teach in college.
Mm-hmm.
But
Sure.
What we do is it's trial by error. We just research how they did it at the time, and then we try to replicate it as much as possible. Of course, with today's modern conveniences, it's a lot easier than it once was.
Sure.
Right. a lot of R&D, you know, a lot of research and design and reading. And then, as Rebecca said, trial and error. We just try to do something. And if it doesn't work, we try another way to do it, or we try to do it again. And we do it until we get, you know, a satisfactory outcome, something that we find, you know, aesthetically pleasing and correct enough that it will pass. And we usually have pretty high standards. So we found that if we're accepting of our own work, it usually is accepted by others.
And of course, it also depends on what it is that we're doing.
Of course, yeah.
A lot of times it's props, and the stuff is more, you know, designed like it would be for stage. So it's not necessarily real. In the same token, our costumes are very real and should be seen more as clothing than costumes, because you can wear them every day. You can wash them. They're very, you know, authentic. And then that goes to our weapons. Our weapons are all real and very authentic. So it just depends on, you know, what it is you're talking about.
And I'm sure the wardrobe coordinators on films and things that receive your clothing are so happy about that they're that durable that they can be washed and thing like that.
Well, actually, Jeff's hats have been seen in film and have been all over, but my clothing actually has not. Oh. I do all of our own private clothing, although I was a costumer at Evermore, the theme park that we were building in Utah, and I got to make over 50, 60 costumes for each season. Yeah. So that was really exciting. But that's pretty much where my costumes have been so far.
Well, we'll have to rectify that. If anybody listening needs pirate costumes for a movie, because
it's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. I'm good. Actually, not really doing it professionally because it's a lot of work, and I really enjoy doing it for you know, our family.
Sure.
And I do make costumes for all of our friends, but I'm good there.
Okay. All right.
She's not looking for a career as a design.
Then. All right.
Costumer.
All right. Yeah. Then if anybody listening is doing a pirate movie, don't call Rebecca.
Yeah, right.
No, you can call me about my film, but don't call her about. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, because I had appeared in a pirate short film. A short comedy film it's called Pool Pirates. It's hilarious. And it's about a bunch of pirates that take over this lady's backyard pool. But I remember the writer, director was telling me just how much it cost to just rent these pirate costumes because they were really nice. And we were swimming in a pool with them. So she's like, oh my God, they're going to kill me, you know?
Yeah.
So there's basically two parts to what you do. There's the production sort of design and creation and props and the clothes and the things like that. And then you have sort of a performance aspect to what you do as well. What kind of form does that take?
Oh, what kind of form does that take? Everything from, well, when I first started I started as a Captain Jack impersonator. The costume thing went from the costume party to being one of the first few Captain Jack impersonators, and I got hired out to play Captain Jack at different events and movie openings and things like that. And that was back, you know, right after the movie, and there just weren't that many. And as by the time Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest came out, you know, you could shake a stick at all the Jacks, and Jack Sparrows were on every street corner. So luckily for my own career, my own pirate personality or persona was taking off by then, and I could easily step away from the Jack Sparrow. But so we went from, you know, playing Jack Sparrow, doing a lot of charity events, Make-A-Wish Foundation, things like that, where we would be pirate / mermaid or Jack Sparrow or Ariel or, you know, things like that. So
usually how it transpired was we would spend the week creating the props and costumes for whatever event we had on the weekend. And then when the weekend rolled around, we usually had some large event that was pirate or mermaid themed. And most of the time it was a charity, but like you said, we had festivals, and then we threw our own events too, like pirate rock videos with pirates or zombies or, you know, pirate zombies or crazy fun things that we did with our friends. And most of it, all of it, is just about having a really great time, being in costumes and just kind of altering reality for a few minutes. And it's really great fun.
I'm sure it is. Yeah, absolutely. Now, the charity work has been a recurring theme with almost everybody I've talked to on this show. What kind of charity events do you do?
We've done, like I said, we've done Make-A-Wish Foundation several times for a couple of different kids.
Cancer is usually a big one.
Cancer, yeah, we have done Booty for Boobies a number of times.
Relay for Life.
Relay for Life, Dragon Slayer for kids leukemia. There was the event that we do at CBS, which is also for kids cancer. So generally they're more often than not but we've also done paws and animal related ones.
The Humane Society.
Yeah, but it's generally more often than not, it seems to be cancer related, which hits home for us, as my father died of cancer, my grandfather died of cancer, my uncle died of brain cancer, one of my aunts, my cousin of breast cancer. I've had a lot of family who I've lost through cancer, and Rebecca has had cancer related issues in the past. So it's a theme that's very much on our minds and in our hearts as far as our charity is concerned.
But then in addition to that, we also volunteer. We had pirate camp at the Y, and we also did princess camp at the Y, and I got to swim with all the princesses, and I was a mermaid, and that was really fun. We volunteer by going to the different schools and educating the kids, going to the libraries and reading to the kids. Yeah. So, it's a vast array of volunteer work that we get to do.
That's fantastic that you get to do all that stuff. I think that's great. When you're talking to kids, especially in an educational situation at a school or a library or whatever, how much do you get into the sort of real life version of pirates versus the mythos of the pirates? I mean, because they weren't the nicest people, and probably not somebody you'd want to put your children next to. And so I'm always curious about the thoughts of the dichotomy between those two ideas.
Sure. And that holds true at pirate festivals and events too, where we shoot black powder and sword fight and entertain. It's a fine line, and it's one of those things where you have to weigh your audience. And if they're preschool kids, obviously, you're reading a preschool book to them, and it's pirates are happy-go-lucky guys who have mermaids for girlfriends and sail their ships and look for buried treasure and X marks the spot and all that faux fantasy pirate stuff.
We do share some real pirate things, even with the youngsters. Like we do talk about scurvy and how important it is to eat your fruits and vegetables and to brush your teeth and things like that. So we always tell them we're not real pirates. And they know that, you have to give the kids some credit too. They're pretty gosh darn smart.
Sure.
And so they know the difference and they think we're fun. And for them, us coming dressed up as pirates is really similar to being dressed up for Halloween.
Right. And so I guess it's just the angle at which we're approaching it. So, like she said, we're talking about scurvy or keeping clean and things like that makes sense for kids as far as nutrition and hygiene and stuff like that. And we sometimes talk about, when they're a little bit older, about the way pirate ships worked and democracy and how everybody gets a vote and everybody gets to share in the treasure, and it's more of a sharing experience and all that kind of stuff. And if the people are older or they're adults or preteens and that kind of stuff, then you can really talk to them about, life as a pirate was disgusting, and these were people
wouldn't want to be one.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be one, and how a lot of them didn't want to be, but they were pressed into service in the Navy and then became pirates because they thought it would be a short life, but at least they stood a chance of seeing some money, and if they were on a good crew, they possibly could seek some fame and fortune. Most of them didn't. The average age that they died was 21, 22 years old. That's based on the hanging records from the days.
Sure.
But yeah, so you just have to look at the audience and you weigh it, and based on the circumstance, you
And sometimes you
Decide
end
what you
up
can tell.
talking, not about historical pirates. You end up talking about Hollywood pirates. And we
Yeah.
spend the time talking about Pirates of the Caribbean and Jack Sparrow and how fun it would be. And, so it just depends.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's great. That's I like that you can cover all of it. Rebecca, you mentioned the children's books that you've written, right? Tell me a little bit about those.
Well, it's called the Little Pirate series, and I have a few of them. I had started writing them when my son was an infant, and they're kind of based on him, and they're done kind of, with pencil and
Colored pencil.
And it's just a lot of fun. It was something I kind of did for him, and that's about it. We really didn't. I didn't go on further than that. I just wrote a few of them. I have Little Pirates ABCs, and that's one that, we always read to the little ones, the preschool age. They really love it. So they get to learn the alphabet, and it's a rhyming book, and, it's cute and fun for them. And it brings some education, that they need, like the alphabet. And it combines the whole pirate, I don't know.
Yeah.
And there was her first book was Little Pirate in His Pirate Hat, and it was a shameful shameless way to plug Captain Jack's pirate hats.
Well, because every pirate needs a pirate hat, right? You got to start the kids out right, from the beginning. You need a pirate hat.
We were cross promoting our businesses and
branding them at a young age.
But then she had Little Pirates 1, 2, 3s, which followed Little Pirates ABCs, and then there was the Little Pirates
Gets Dressed for Adventure
and Little Pirates
Goes Potty.
So
basically, my little books went right along with my little son and what he needed at the time.
Nice. And are those available on Amazon and places like that?
We self-published through
Lulu.
Through Lulu.
Okay.
Press. Yeah, lulu.com.
But it's not something I'm really pushing at this time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Rebecca,
I just read them to preschool kids.
Rebecca, you're not pushing anything. Oops.
No, not really.
We're the most laid back pirates you're gonna meet.
That's great.
I just thought doubloons fell from the sky.
We don't push too much.
So
actually, I do have a new business that I am excited about that I am hoping people will come and spend money at. And that's Naughty Mermaid Apparel.
Okay.
And it's an online web store where I'm doing kind of everyday mermaid apparel that anyone that loves the sea or, nautical inspired clothing can go and, represent the mermaid in them every day without having to actually put on a tail. So we got like scale leggings and tank tops that have shells on them and, just fun stuff that you can represent your mermaid personality on a everyday daily basis. Because personally, I feel like you should wear a costume every day. Every day should be themed out. So
I like it.
It's mermaid couture.
Right. And what's the website for that?
NaughtyMermaidApparel.com.
Okay, great.
And naughty as in nautical.
NAUTI.
Great. And I'll definitely put a link to that and everything else in the show notes for this episode too. So you guys are the first people I've talked to that have ever participated in the theming of a theme park. Tell me about Evermore.
Well, Evermore, it was planned as a 45-acre adventure theme park that was set during the Victorian era. And the idea is a unique park that changes with the season 3 times a year. There are 7 attraction areas in the park, in addition to a town square that would hold 7,000 people for concerts and things like that. But there was an old London town section and the sewer system underneath it. There was a cove with a full-size brigantine 3-level ship. There is a forest. There is a governor's mansion and hedge maze. There is a pirate. Basically, what did we end up calling it? I'm forgetting.
It's like a town.
We're working on it. It was a pirate. It's a pirate town. There's a cavern system. There's a castle. There's a church.
We have mermaids too, and a lagoon.
An aquatic performance lagoon, and basically the park changed, as I was saying, 3 times a year. During the fall, Evermore would present Ripper's Cove, and Ripper's Cove was the world's largest haunt with 7 separate ticketed haunt attractions. Each one of those is a chapter in an overall story. And it culminates in the Governor's Mansion, which is a VIP ticketed haunt experience where you had to have done all the other haunts in order to do that one. And because you're basically a character, the way the park was designed is it's immersive, interactive, theatrical adventure. So you are a character in the story, and based on what you do and the decisions you make in the haunt at any particular given time, it changes the outcome. And it's
kind of like walking through a movie,
and
like getting to be able to participate.
And so it changes the experience for you based on what you do. You're an active participant in your own story and what happens. When you get to the end of the Ripper's Cove story in the Governor's Mansion, you're faced with some choices you have to make. And based on what you've learned and what you've done throughout the rest of the haunts, through the rest of the story, you'll either make the right or wrong choice that will either save the day and the town of Evermore or doom it. So that was basically the fall. And then during the winter, it was going to change over to Kris Kringle's Winter Town, which was basically another story with chapters and, again, an interactive walkthrough. And then in the spring, summer season, it would turn over to Evermore's Carnival of Wonders, which would be more of a carnival, late 1800s Victorian era carnival setting with a fairy forest and so
magic.
Yeah, and lots of magic. So a good example is to look at the forest during all 3 seasons. The forest during the haunt was the haunted forest. During the summer, it is a fairy forest complete with all kinds of 3D imagery and proprietary devices where you're given a tablet basically, and when you go through the environment, you see the fairies around you.
A lot of modern magic and new technology hasn't been used. A
lot of technology
in a theme park setting before.
And then during the winter, the forest was more of the candy cane forest and
beautifully lit.
Yeah, more of a light show, spectacular, interactive lighting where when you move through the environment, it would change the Christmas lighting around you and depending on what you did and all that kinds of stuff. So basically 45 acres, 7 attraction spaces, 3 times a year. It changes completely over. And so it was always ever changing, ever more, always.
And we were brought on board originally because of our pirate and mermaid background and the fact that we could do props and costuming and bring the authentic feel of the past to the theme park. It turned out that we ended up, getting to really design a lot of the actual walkthroughs. So I did interior design for the park along with costuming, and Jeff did all the props and set design. And so we became quite a design team. And I have to tell you, it was an absolute dream job. I mean, it's like going to the playground every day. You get to do what you love to do. And people who are creative and, like us and basically who just want to create fantasy all day long, it was the perfect place for us.
It was pretty amazing to work with, a team of 12 people. And some of them were, conceptual artists that worked for Disney for 35 years. So, I mean, it was amazing to get to work with people like that and see that our own talents and from our own design perspective and things like that, we were right up there. And it was a dream job and a really magical situation to be in.
And not only did we get to, design the park with these people, and that all did come together, and we have a complete design that's amazing for all 3 seasons, like Jeff was saying. But in the process, we also got to design haunts for, 2 Halloween seasons. We did a pumpkin fest that was out of this world with a walk through a cemetery, and it was incredible, like unbelievable. People were so impressed with what we could create in a small space, and we were just trying to give everyone kind of a peek into the future of what Evermore was going to be. And in addition to that, we got to do several Comic Cons where we did elaborate booths and costuming, and got to bring Evermore to life for people for a few minutes. So the things that we got to create and the events that we got to create along with creating Evermore were very magical and great experience for us to have while we were there.
Comic Con was kind of fun because we were positioned right beside the Weta Workshops booth, from Lord of the Rings, New Zealand, Peter Jackson, and Weta was so impressed with we set up our tavern and our scale model of the park that we designed, and our interactive screens and all that kind of stuff. Weta was so impressed. They were borrowing our people to go over to the Weta booth in order to gain a bigger crowd, because everybody was at the Evermore booth. It was quite.
We did have a line.
It was quite fun. It was quite fun.
So followers are excited about Evermore. However, Evermore is kind of on hold at the moment while they're looking for more funding. So right now, the crew at Evermore is focused on something called The Void. And so Evermore is waiting, and it's in a transition phase. So we're just waiting to see what happens with that.
Well, that sounds like a fascinating experience all the way around. It makes me tired just thinking about being in a project like that. But it sounds... Utah needs something to do besides Sundance, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And the CEO and the dream guy, the guy who thought this all up and brought the team together, is basically of the same mindset that Utah needs some entertainment. They need something like this, and that's why his desire to keep it there in the state. He wasn't originally from Utah. He was from Canada, but he married a Utah girl 25 years ago or 20-something, 7 years ago, and he's lived there ever since. And he wants to see, jobs and entertainment created in Utah. And so, good on him for that.
But as you can see, it is a really, really big dream. It is a really big project. And so it's, no wonder that it needs a little more time for it to actually be built.
Sure, absolutely. It sounds like a fascinating project, and we'll definitely keep tabs on where that's going. So what are you guys working on now? What are the current projects?
Well, we're actually in Ohio now. We both of my parents passed away within the last 2 years. And so I inherited my parents' house. We moved to Ohio. So our biggest project for the last 6 months has been remodeling this house that's it's almost 50 years old, but it's been in my family 45 years. And we've been redoing it room by room. And now we just tackled the outside and the landscaping and all that kind of stuff. As far as pirate and whatnot related, I'm back to, we had closed Captain Jack's Pirate Hats and our other business, the Pirate Trading Company, when we went to work for Evermore. So we were on a little bit of an extended adventure, and we reopened the doors to that back in December. And so I'm fully busy making pirate hats again. Since we reopened our doors, we've made hats for Finding Neverland on Broadway. For Kelsey Grammer and the other understudies. So we're back to making hats.
And we opened Naughty Mermaid Apparel, like we mentioned earlier.
Uh-huh.
And since then, we're finding out just how exciting Ohio is for pirates and mermaids. And one of the things that I was really shocked was how many places there actually are to be a mermaid here. Huh. Now, there aren't very many mermaids in the state. I'm like one of 2 or 3 that we know of. Yeah. But the quarries here are absolutely fascinating. I mean, beautiful water to swim in. There's fish. It's just gorgeous. And so I'm kind of finding myself to be a quarry mermaid here in this state and really enjoying that. And then, there's other pirate festivals and things that we hadn't ever been able to explore because we were on the other side. Mm-hmm. And now we're getting to venture off and do these things. September 19th is Talk Like a Pirate Day. So we're looking forward to that. And we're going to go to the Pirate Weekend at the Ohio Ren Fair. Yep. So we're looking forward to that.
That's great.
So, there's a lot of history in this state. And so that's what's really exciting. We get to kind of go back and do more historical things now that we're back here, and the states that are around, in the Great Lakes and, this coast. There's a lot more history here that we get to explore as far as piracy and the festivals that are out here.
The country's definitely, as you're well aware, older on the East Coast through the Ohio Valley.
Sure.
And because the Ohio Valley was the West, the far West back in the day in the 1700s. And so there's a lot of history here, and there's a lot that I grew up with that I'm getting to re-explore, and there's stuff that I'm getting to show Rebecca and Wilde, things that we're getting to see together that we haven't done. And we have a long list of those planned out, and we're going back down to Florida in October.
Yeah, the most convenient thing is the driving distance between us and Florida now. So our trips to Florida are becoming much, much more. I'm excited about that.
We're going to be swimming with the manatees again with not only Rebecca, but 3 other mermaids this time. And we're
Mermaid Kristen and Mermaid Sandy and I are all going on
and Heidi.
And Mermaid Heidi. That's right.
And we're going to be filming that and photographing that. And so looking forward to being with the manatees again. It was such a magical thing the last time we did it.
That's great. I've always found Ohio to be an underrated state because it's one of those that people never think very highly of. But the times that I've been there, I've played shows there on and off over the years, and I always find the people to be great. The towns are great, and I always enjoy Ohio.
Yeah, there's even castles here. Like, I was so excited. If you do if you search for, fun things to do in Ohio, there's such a long list. Like, seriously, every weekend for me is booked with fun things that we can go do and, costumes that we can wear. I'm like, oh, we got to go there and wear this costume and get pictures.
Well, it's like there's in Mansfield, there's the penitentiary that was used for the Shawshank Redemption, which actually I knew that part, but I didn't know it was actually. It's very haunted. It's the penitentiary that started the whole paranormal phase on reality TV. They started with, by investigating that place years ago. And so, and that's a plan we have for October is going to go do that. And we're going to do it in Victorian attire.
We found a haunted ghost ship, too, that's up a river that we're going to go explore.
We found a ghost ship that's just at the border of Ohio and Kentucky that we're going to go check out. And so there's just all kinds of...
We have adventures planned for days.
Well, that's great. It's been really fun talking to you guys. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you want to talk about?
And let's see. Is there anything? Wrote a screenplay called The Buccaneer in 2009,
right?
Which we had pitched through social media. We got really good notes from some director producers who have read it, a number of them, and we took those in mind, and there were some rewrites done, and so we'll be pitching that again here soon. I was encouraged to find out that the average time from someone that writes a script to a screenplay, making it on to the the silver screen is between 7 and 10 years. So
Yep.
I feel really good about that because I have a few more years left.
Yeah.
And, but it's a very exciting project, and we're going to be focusing on that again some more.
That's great. That's good. No, is there, so I imagine if anybody would like to, in the industry, of course, would like to look at your screenplay, they can get a hold of you through your website.
They can get a hold of me through the website, and I do have it in professional voice audio, and I also do have it in regular screenplay format that if they want to read it, they can read it. If they want to listen to it in their car, they can do that. I do only pass it out to people who are,
Of course,
accredited production company. But
we never know who's listening.
people in the business. But yeah. Exactly.
Well, if anybody wants to learn more about the MacKay Pirate Family, they can just go to www.mackaypiratefamily.com, and there they can learn all about what is entailed if they want to hire us for any parties or events. Then you can also see that we are character models, and you can see all of our different pictures from all of our exploits. And also as designers, you can see photos and you can see our resume from our work at Evermore and other things we've done in the design world. You can see Jeff's screenplay there, and there's links to our stores like Captain Jack's Pirate Hats and Naughty Mermaid Apparel. You can see our mermaid pictures and events there, and also you can see that we are both Leviathan members. We're both lords in the pirate community.
That's great.
Everything is in there. And lots of videos and pictures. So
wonderful. Well, I will absolutely be linking to all that stuff in the show notes. And thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to talk to me. This has been really fun.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We had a great time too.
Great.
Thanks.
Well, I will talk to you soon again, I hope.
Okay,
Awesome.
Phil. Sounds good.
Have a great day.
Have a great
You
day.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And there it is, friends. That was my interview with Jeff and Rebecca MacKay of the MacKay Pirate Family. You can find them at MacKayPirateFamily.com, and we'll have the links to Naughty Mermaid and all that kind of good stuff in the show notes. So make sure you come by UnderTheCrossbones.com to check that out. They're a fascinating family. They're so, I love their creativity. I love that they're hustling and they're doing their thing. And I think that's what we should all be doing. So if you're not creating and hustling, get out there and do something. Don't just go to work every day. Work's a drag. Don't work for everybody else. Do your thing. Get out, hustle, create. Anyway, all right, some more creators. I have more creators for you. Next up, we're going to get some comedy and some music, slide you back into real life here. The comedy clip today is from my friend Matt Gubser, who I've known for since he started doing comedy, pretty much. And he's a great guy. He's come out to open for me a whole bunch of times. And his new album called Daddy Issues is out this week in video and audio form. So make sure you go to mattgubser.com and pick that up and sign up for his email list and all that kind of stuff. He's a great dude. He's very tall. And he has a mellifluous voice that should be talking to you. You'll hear it. When you hear his voice, you're going to go, that's a voice that should be talking to me. So that's Matt Gubser. After that, you're going to hear a song called Driving at Night from Kenny Thomas and the Southern Baptists, and you can find them at facebook.com/Kenny Thomas and the Southern Baptists. It's a long one, but you can type. You can do that. And it's a great song. You're going to dig it. Kenny, also one of the coolest guys I know. So here we go. Comedy from Matt Gubser and some music from Kenny Thomas and the Southern Baptists. Enjoy.
Dating is easy. I personally struggle in relationships so much. I think being a comedian is a big part of it. Not just like the time on the road or being out every night. But the longer that I've been doing comedy, the more every conversation has turned into a struggle to not blurt out the inappropriate thing that just popped up into my head. Which unfortunately carries into relationships for me. Like at some point my brain just decided that it liked punchlines more than having regular sex. Like this one time my girlfriend and I were having one of those we need to talk conversations, which is just going in circles. So at some point I decided to see how far I could get into Bon Jovi lyrics before she noticed. 4 lines is the answer, by the way, in case anyone was wondering. Look, I hear what you're saying, but I really think we've got to hold on to what we've got. Like, it doesn't make a difference if we make it or not. We've got each other. And that's a lot. If you can make it through a chorus, they should give you a medal. You could probably do better than 4 lines. I'm sure it wouldn't be too hard, but you really have to pick your spots. You can't just blurt out the first lyrics that pop up into your head. It's like I just feel like we're not communicating like we used to. Tommy used to work on the docks. What? Union's been on strike. He's down on his luck. I feel like not all of you guys are completely on board with that idea. That's fine. It doesn't bother me. Because I'm a cowboy. I'm a steer horse.
And that's our show for today, friends. Thank you for listening to Under the Crossbones. Don't forget to subscribe over at iTunes and Stitcher or your favorite podcatcher. And keep telling your friends, keep leaving the reviews. I can only talk and do so much, and it's really you that helps get the show out and brings pirate culture to the masses. We don't have masses yet, but we have massish. Massish? Does that work? Okay. Anyway, thank you very much again, and I will see you next week with another special guest on Under the Crossbones.